old saying in network marketing that if you have one leader, you're going to make a lot of money. If you have two leaders on your team, you're going to be rich beyond your wildest imagination. If you have three or more leaders on your team, you probably miscounted. Leaders are rare people that take responsibility, do their own thing, and really don't need much input from us. So having leaders is the bottom line. You know, our team members will come and go. They'll be active when they're active, inactive when they don't want to be. They'll order products. They'll come to meetings, bring some folks. But leaders are a special breed. And if you want to build a massive organization, you don't measure that by the number of team members. You measure it by the number of leaders you have. So the question is, what's a leader? Well, let's do a quick definition of a potential leader. When people come, they're probably not a leader, but we're going to build them into leaders. There's no such thing as a born leader. They don't come out of the womb, the doctor slaps them on their butt and says, this one's going to be a leader. No, they don't have leader tattooed on their butt. It's something we learn after we're born. So we're going to teach people to become leaders. But how are we going to look at some potential ones? So let's say you sign somebody up, and they say, well, I'll try this business. Well, we know how that's going to end. If somebody tries, it's going to end badly. You know, when you invite somebody to a meeting and they say, well, I'll try to be there, what does that mean? And that means they're probably not going to be there. So if somebody says, I'll try, that would be a pretty good hint that they're not ready or committed enough to learn how to be a leader. Now, when we sign somebody up, you can have some people say, I'll do my best. You know, if they say, I'll do my best, that means we're going to have a great distributor, probably going to be loyal, going to be working all the time, but they're still going to be a team member. The third commitment is we sign them up and they say, I will do whatever it takes. Now, when they say, I'll do whatever it takes, whoa, that is somebody with potential we can work with. Because we know there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be all kind of problems they're going to have. And if they're willing to do whatever it takes, guess what? They will overcome those problems. So who do we work with? How do we get people to become leaders? Well, I talked about this man I met who had the restaurant. And he said, I want to do it. I'll do whatever it takes. So this person, I said, potential leader. So I almost moved in with this man for about 6 months. We traveled everywhere. We did meetings together. We did trainings together. We prospected together. At the end of 6 months, he knew everything that I know. Plus, he knew what he knew before. He was actually a better leader than me. And he sponsored somebody. And he did the same thing. Moved in with him, traveled with him everywhere, taught him what to do. And at the end of about 6 months, this person knew everything that I knew, everything my leader knew, plus everything he knew before he started. He was even a better leader. He says, wow. So here's how I did it in the beginning. I say, if you want to be a leader, I'll move in with you and I'll work with you as much as I could. Now, if you ask 100 people, do you want to be a leader? He says, before you work with all these people, give them a test. Oh, yeah, I'll give them a test. And of course, I asked the obvious question, what test would I give them? And he says, well, you want to give them a test, give them a book. And say, read the book, and we'll get together in 3 days. I said, okay. So, all right, I'll give them a book, get together in 3 days, and talk about the book and see how it's going to work on their business. So, all right, I try that. I give somebody a book, and 3 days later, I said, well, let's get together. He said, well, I haven't had a chance to read the book yet. Oh, I was kind of busy. The weekend came up. You know, during the weekend, on Saturday I golf, and Sunday's family day where the family goes out and I can watch TV in peace. And then Monday I had to go back to work. You haven't read the book yet? Oh, what does that tell us? That tells us that, not that the person's bad, it just says now is not the right time for them to go all out to be a leader. That's all. And we shouldn't spend our valuable leadership time with them because then we'd be stealing it from somebody else. So we say, okay, got it. So what do? You give them the book, and maybe they call you the next day and say, I've already read the book, I have my plans ready, let's meet ahead of time, and you go, whoa, that's going to be a potential leader. So please give people a test before you start. Now, does it have to be a book? No. A big L book is good. Yeah, like How to Build Your Nutrition Business would be a great book, but it doesn't have to be that book. It could be an audio, couldn't it? Yeah. It could be just send them to the store for milk and cookies and see if they come back. The point is, we just want to give them a test to see if they're willing to at least take some action to get there instead of just saying hope and wish and, yeah, I'd like to be a leader. So when they say, no, I haven't made up my mind yet, I haven't done that test yet, you go, oh no. That means it's not my time. Maybe later. They could change their mind. But for now, let's put our time elsewhere. So what I'm going to encourage everybody here to do is talk to your team. Give them the leadership test. Ask them to do something and see if they actually take action. And you'll probably be disappointed when you find out that 97% of the people or more won't do it. Just the way it is. But we can't work with everybody all the time. But it will help us locate the one or two people that do want to do it, and we're going to spend our time with them, and then we're going to service the rest. But for the people we're going to spend time with, the next question is, what am I going to teach them? They didn't teach me about leadership in school, so what am I going to teach them to be a leader? I said, well, the easiest way to do this is to figure out what's the difference between leaders and just ordinary team members. So are leaders more positive? Well, they're positive, but you can have team members that are positive. Are they hard workers? Well, leaders are hard workers, but you could have team members that are hard workers. So what's the difference? Are they great sponsors? No, you can have people on your team that sponsors a lot of people but never become a leader. Until we recognize what we have to do to build a leader, we don't know what to teach them. So here is the difference. Leaders don't come from a better zip code or area. They don't wear better clothes or have different cars. Here's what makes the difference. In every situation, leaders think different than team members. In every situation, they make a decision on how to think. You go, oh. So what we have to do is teach them how to think. So that's where most of our effort's going to go, to teach people on how to become a leader. And we have different ways of giving their lessons, so let's get started. I want you to imagine that there's two teams that are rivals, and they play in a big game, and let's say it's a football, a soccer game. Score is tied 0-0, and you're hoping, oh, I hope my team wins, and the opponents are, oh, we hope our team wins. And there's only like 10 seconds to go in the game. And the other team member of the opposing team, they sneak up behind the referee and pull the referee's pants down. And the referee looks down and goes, holy cow, they took down my pants. I got to pull them up. Oh. And why the referee's doing this, the opposing team, they pick up the soccer ball under their arm, walk up to the goalie, punch the goalie in the nose, and throw the ball in. So the referee pulls up the pants and says, oh, it looks like the ball's in there. I guess the other team wins. And end of the game. Now, how do we feel? We feel terrible. The other team cheated. They punched our goalie in the nose and threw the ball in, and they pulled the referee's pants down. This is terrible. And we feel bad. They're all happy and cheery and having a great time. We won. Wait a minute. It's the same. It's the same event. It happened one time, that was the event. Half the people were happy, half the people were sad. So is it possible that in one event, no matter what it is, we could choose to be happy or we could choose to be sad? And the answer is yes. And that's the secret of leadership. In every situation, we can choose how we think. You say, really? All right. So let's talk about the people, us, that lost. We could say, all right, they won the game. Yeah, that's kind of bad. But you know what? Maybe now we're going to fire that coach and finally get some younger players on that can play. So this is probably a good thing. And next year we'll have a super team. So we could choose to think okay about that. What about them that won? They say, well, yeah, we won, but now we're probably going to be banned from the league, and we're going to keep the same old players and the same stupid coach, and we're never going to improve. So in every situation, there's at least two ways of thinking. So if we're going to build team members into leaders, we have to teach them that in every situation, there's at least two different ways of thinking. And here's the two ways: distributor thinking and leadership thinking. If we think like a distributor, we're going to get a distributor-sized bonus check. If we think like a leader, we're going to get a leader-sized bonus check. Here's the question: how much does it cost us to change our thinking? Zero. We can change our thinking for free. So we have a choice of how to think. Now, most people don't believe this. They think, well, a situation happens, there's only one way to think. Well, that's not true. When a situation happens, there's at least two ways of thinking about it: distributor thinking and leadership thinking. So what we want to do is figure out what size bonus check we want, and then we know which way to think. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you go next door and you take an order for some product. Say, okay, I got the order. You go home, you order the product, you call up and say, please send the product, and the clerk of the home office says, oh, we're out of that product right now. It's back ordered. We hang up with the phone and we say, oh, this is terrible. They're out of the product. Why were they out of the product? Maybe they're not even a real company. Maybe it's just a phone call to somewhere, and this is terrible. I'm going to have to go back and talk to my customer and says, I took your money and I can't give you the product, and the customer's going to say I've been ripped off, and they're going to tell their friends in the neighborhood, and they're going to tell everybody in the city, and then they're going to tell everybody in the country and everybody in the world, and civilization is going to collapse. This is terrible. I quit. Now, is that going to be leadership thinking or distributor thinking? I think it's going to be distributor thinking, and we're going to get a distributor-sized bonus check. But instead, let's look at another way. We're going to go next door, take that same order, call up the home office, and they say, oh, we're just out of that product right now. We're going to hang up, and we could choose to think this way. We could choose to say, wow, they're out of product. They're backward. This is awesome. That means our product is so popular, they can't even keep it in stock. I'm so honored to work with a company that has products that are so much in demand, they can't even make them fast enough. And when I tell my neighbor's going to say, oh, wow, this must be an exclusive product. It's so hard to get. Maybe I should order twice as much or 3 times as much. And I'll be getting twice the bonus check or 3 times the bonus check. This is awesome. I hope they're out of everything. Well, that would be distributor thinking or leadership thinking. That'd be leadership thinking. It's the exact same event, but 2 different ways of thinking about it. So what we have to do is teach people how to change their thinking. We don't have to tell them which way to choose. We just say, hey, this is distributor thinking, this is leadership thinking. Choose the way that you want to get paid. Do you want to get paid as a distributor or as a leader? So let's do an example. They say, the product is too expensive. I can't sell this product. It's too expensive. No, everybody wants to buy the cheapest. So I say, well, I guess it's time for me to do some leadership training. I'm going to have to teach them about price. So here's what we do. We say, okay, let's learn about price. So come with me. So we step outside and we stand on the curb and says, what's the cheapest car in America? And they say, well, you can get a Kia for really, really cheap. And I said, well, if people buy the cheapest price, I bet everybody drives Kias. Let's stand on the corner and see how many Kias go by. And we see a Toyota go by. That's Toyota. And then we see Mercedes go, it's Mercedes. And then we see BMW. There's a Ford, there's a Chevy. And we don't see hardly any Kias at all. And we say to them, you know what? I could be wrong about this, but I don't see a lot of Kias go out here. So it doesn't appear that people buy on price. They buy on, I don't know, convenience or image or quality or value, but they certainly don't seem to be buying on price. But, maybe we're wrong. So let's go to the mall. So we take our new team member to the mall, and we're going to teach him how to think and say, okay, let's stand outside this really expensive shoe store. And we'll just stand here and watch the ladies come out, and we see some ladies come out with packages that they bought at the expensive shoe store. And we say, this is strange. A lot of them are coming out with packages. I guess they didn't buy on price. No. But maybe they bought on value or convenience or image or quality. But they didn't buy on price. And I say, do you think women always buy the cheapest shoes available? No. All right. So we stand outside the purse store, and guess what? I say, do you think women buy the cheapest purse? No. We stand outside the jewelry store. Do people buy the cheapest jewelry? No, they don't. So finally, we say, man, it just looks that way, but I don't know. Let's go get a pizza. So we go to the pizza restaurant and sit down. And I say, let's talk about pizza. What is the cheapest way in the world to make pizza? And they say, well, I guess the cheapest way is to grow the wheat on your front lawn and then harvest the wheat and grind it up and then steal some tomatoes from your neighbor and get on the government cheese program and get some free cheese from the government, and we can make our own pizza. And I said, do you think that's how people buy or pay for pizza? Well, no, not really. What do? Well, they go to the store and they pay for all these ingredients and go home and make it. But, quite honestly, let's go, if we went to the store, what would we see? Well, we're going to see people buy pre-made pizzas. They actually pay extra, have somebody put everything together for them, so they just stick it in the oven. And I said, not only that, some people, let's look around. Here in the pizza shop, they're paying extra money. They're having somebody get all the ingredients, put them all together, and cook it and deliver it to our table at a premium price. Yeah, there's a lot of people here. So it looks to me that most people don't pay the cheapest amount for pizza. They pay for quality, convenience, results. Oh, it gets worse. I know there's some people that don't even leave their house. They pick up the phone, they call people, say, get all the ingredients together, put them together, cook the pizza, put it in a box, and deliver it by car to my home. Does that happen? Yeah, all the time. And what we've done is change our new team members' attitude about price. We've changed it from people buy the lowest price to they buy quality, convenience, results. And if they pay too little and don't get the results, they are going to be unhappy. We have to change people's thoughts. Now, we can do it with little phrases. So when a new person gets started, if you read the nutrition book, there's a little phrase there for price. Somebody says it's too expensive. All we have to do is say this little script. Yes, it is expensive. And we've agreed with the person, so we haven't made an enemy. And they say, yeah, you notice it's expensive too, because if you said it wasn't expensive, I would think that maybe you're a liar. So yeah, you're a truthful person, and you agree with me, so if you agree with me, you must be a genius. So we say, yes, it is expensive. The company wanted to make a cheaper version, but they knew it wouldn't work. I say, wait a minute. So the company knows they can make it cheaper, but it wouldn't work. Oh, wow. And the company didn't want to rip you off. Wow. And in that moment, we just wiped out the price objection. People say, well, now it justifies the price because you must have a lot of quality in it. And if I buy something cheaper, it's probably not going to work. It's going to rip me off. So maybe I shouldn't buy this cheaper version from the health food store. I should buy from you because I want the results that's promised. Yeah. Changing people's thinking is huge. From nobody wants to join to everybody wants to join. Today may not be the perfect day, but they will want to join. And you say, man, I can change people's thoughts in a heartbeat. So our job as leaders is to find somebody who's passed the test and then say, okay, I got to teach them how to think. In every situation, there's at least two different ways of thinking. Once they understand that, then we've done our job. So how many examples do we have to give? How many stories? How much time we have to spend? Well, that depends on the person, how quick they learn the lesson. But in our business, there will always be problems. And if there's problems, they're going to have to learn how to overcome that with their thinking, because we can't fix all the problems. Nobody can fix all the problems in the world. The leader of the country can't fix every problem. The Pope can't fix every problem. Problems will exist. So what we have to do is say, in our business there will be problems, and how you choose to think about these problems is going to determine your success as a leader or not. Now, women automatically know this. Women know that all men have problems. You simply choose the man you wish to have the problems with. And now, men, we don't get this because women are perfect. But women know all men have problems. You simply choose the man you wish to have your problems with. So what we have to teach them is all businesses have problems. You simply choose the business you wish to have your problems with. If they don't understand this lesson, they're not going to be loyal. They're going to be changing companies every time a problem happens. But all companies have problems. All businesses have problems. Restaurants, they have problems. Staff don't show up, or maybe the food spoils. A mechanic shop has problems. Sometimes you fix a car and it comes back, they say it wasn't fixed right. Every business, including ours, is going to have problems. Once they understand that everything has problems, you choose who you want to have the problems with. They're going to choose us and our company, and they won't be looking for that shiny object somewhere else and switch every time there's a problem. They can overcome the problem. I have a friend named Richard, and Richard told the story once about his company. He says, we sold toothpaste, a special toothpaste. And one day our supplier didn't send us any more toothpaste. And we ran out of toothpaste. This is like 65% of our sales, and it was huge. And after weeks and weeks and weeks, it was really bad. So if you can imagine having a company where the number one product is back ordered for a long, long time, you say, that's a problem. And he says, yeah. And then we finally got the toothpaste. And so we sent it out to everybody. We felt, phew, finally. But after a week of sending out the new toothpaste, we got calls from people saying, is it supposed to burn your mouth? Is it supposed to make the skin peel inside of your mouth? He says, what's going on? So he called the supplier, and the supplier said, well, yeah. He said, we normally put natural cinnamon in, but now we had to use a chemical cinnamon or something like that, and yeah, that would burn their mouth. He had to recall all the toothpaste. So not only were they out for weeks and weeks, he did send it, and they had to recall it, and they burned people's mouths, and they were out of toothpaste for almost 9 months. And Richard told me, you know what happened? He says, we didn't lose any leaders. He says, we are a personal development company disguised as a toothpaste company. So leadership is everything. That is where our power is going to come from. Now, I started in 1972, and I had a friend that joined the same time with me. And he had some success in the beginning, and then he moved away after 2 years. I didn't see him till 30 years later. And when I met him, here's what happened. He said, well, in the last 30 years, I've been with 30-some companies, and every time they had a problem, I just moved on, and he never built a single leader. Now, during that time, I'd built several leaders. And he's starting over. And me, I did the same thing, just started building leaders. Now, looking back, I wish I would have built more leaders. As a matter of fact, if you spend a whole year building a leader, that might be worthwhile, because you're going to have that over and over and over again. So I met this man, 30 years in the career, and I talked to him about, maybe working on building leaders. 15 years later, met him again. Guess how many leaders he had built? Still none. Still looking for a company with no problems. There is no such thing as a company with no problems. All there is leaders that know when problems exist, there's two ways of thinking, and we can overcome it. Now, as a leader, what can we do with our team members to get them more active? So let's take a look at what we call the action call. Now, when we talk to our group, we have to realize that not everybody in our group is going to take our business serious. So as a leader, what are we going to do for the serious ones and the not so serious ones? Well, some people join our business for the social life. They say, I like hanging around with cool people like you because you're more positive than all the people at work at the coffee machine that complain. You're more positive than my relatives. I just like that. Or some people join our business for the personal development. For me, I never even heard the word goals when I started. I grew up on a farm. I talked to cows. I studied engineering. Engineering students don't even talk to each other. I never even heard about personal development or goals until I got involved in network marketing. Some people just like the products and they want to share it with their friends, and that's great too. So people get involved sometimes for a part-time income to pay for Christmas with cash instead of credit cards, or to have an extra income to pay off their credit card debt or save money for a holiday. That's all good. We should allow people to take out of the business what they want, and we're going to service them to what they want. So they may stay in for years, never ever earn a bonus check, and they're so happy because they're around their friends. They're around people that are positive and uplifting and wish them well. But there are some people that might want to become a leader and build a business. And these people we have to treat differently. Now, if you have a weekly call, let's say it's on Zoom, and you say once a week on Monday we get together, we're going to have a call, and for 30 minutes or an hour we're going to talk about the business. We're going to talk about the latest announcements, what's new with the product. I saw this special report about this product, and the company has this promotion coming up, and that's great. And everybody in your team is going to say, well, I could listen for an hour, and maybe I could take some notes and never do anything with it, and that's okay. Let them take out of the business what they want. But some of them are going to say, I need to build a business now. So what are we going to do for these people? Well, we have what we call an entertainment call, which is on Monday. But we can have an action call on Tuesday. Now, the action call is very much different. You say, hey, this is for people who want to build a business. So if you don't want to build a business, don't be on the call. You'll just be irritated. It'll be wasting your time. So we would set up an action call. And what an action call is, I try to keep it to around 8 people, and you'll see why. So the action call with 8 people that want to build a business would start off by me saying, all right, we're all here. We're going to keep it to 20 minutes. Now remember, we only want to keep it to 20 minutes because they need time to go out and work on their business. But in 20 minutes, we can take action instead of just taking notes. So I'd say, thank you for being on the call to my 8 people on the call. And I said, first of all, we need to report. Now, here's what we reported. If you were to break down this business, you'd say the hardest thing to do is to kind of get conversations started with people. Yeah, once a conversation started, then we can talk all about our products and our opportunity. But getting that first thing started is a little bit difficult. So that would be the bottleneck, the hardest thing to start. So that we're going to make that our action. So what we would teach them is a great first sentence, something they could say that would start the conversation for them. So what could the great first sentence be? It could be something as easy as, do you like taking good care of your body? Or, if I'm at a gas station, fill up my car, I go inside to pay, and when I see the clerk, what do I know about the clerk? You know, he's overpaid, underpaid. Yeah, he's underpaid, wants a better life. So I might say to him, just to start the conversation in the right direction, I might say, you know, jobs really interfere with the week. And he might go, yeah. And we're off and running in the conversation. So what we do is teach them a great first sentence. So their job is to say that great first sentence and take the volunteers that come from that action. So I would get on first and say, hey, I said my great first sentence. Here it is. My great first sentence is, are you married to your job or are you open-minded? And I said it once a day for the 7 days this week because that was our goal. So I said it 7 times, and here's the results I got from it. The results was 5 people say, let's talk more. And I sat down with them. I got 2 customers and 2 people want to join the business. And then I would say, and here's what happened good to me this week. And I would mention something good. I'd say, my son came home from school with his first D. I mean, it's been F's all the way along, but now it's D. And that's what's good happened to me this week. Now, why do we do this? Number 1, personal accountability. Number 2, we reinforce our good first sentence. But why do we say something good? Well, for 23 hours and 40 minutes every day, they listen to negativity on the news, newspapers, friends they're with. What's wrong with just saying, hey, for 20 minutes we'll be positive. Save your negativity for the other time. That seems fair. It's a good balance. So what happens is if we all report like this, they're going to hear 8 or 9 great things that happened that week, and it helps give us the confidence and belief that good things can happen. So when I'm done, then the next person gets on and they say, well, my first sentence was, do you sleep good at night? That's the one I just felt comfortable saying. And I said that to 4 people this week. I didn't do it once a day. But I did say it to 4, and one person says, whatever you have, I'll take it. I thought that was pretty awesome. And what happened good to me this week was we went out and bought a new car, and we feel good about that now. And then the next person reports, and they say, well, this week, I know I'm supposed to do it once a day, but what happened was my son got sick, or my daughter got sick, and I didn't do it any times. And here's what's good happened to me, my daughter got better. Now, notice we're not judging any of them, we're just reporting. So nobody's going to feel embarrassed that they have to report a real low number. Another person says, well, this week I started off by saying it once a day, and I noticed that nobody gave me rejection, so I said, on Saturday I'll just say it 10 times. And so what happened to me was I said it a total of 15 times this week, and guess what? I have appointments with 4 people. I had 2 people that joined right away, and this is the greatest thing ever happened. So everybody reports, and there's an accountability with it. And these people will want to be on the call every week, and they know if they report bad, it is okay, because not every week we can concentrate 100% of our time. Everybody reports something good that happened. If there's negativity, say that for another call. This is the positive call. Now we're done. That took, 8 minutes, 10 minutes? Now we still have another 10 minutes. So what are we going to do? So during these 10 minutes, we're going to do a little bit of personal development. We're going to learn some skills on how to get better. How are we going to learn these skills? Well, if we don't know them, we're going to have to learn them somewhere. So we usually would take a book. Now, I like a Big Al book, but I have one group that did this. They took the book Think and Grow Rich, and every week they read a different chapter. So they had a little 10-minute discussion. What did you get out of the chapter? Any good ideas that you're going to do from it? And they've used that same book over and over again for over 20 years. But it's just personal development. So it could be an audio, it could be a book, but you want them to be learning some hardcore skills to go with their motivation. And we did this call every week. Now, I have a bit of a background in network marketing, so I started off with 8 different groups. And here's what I noticed. We had the groups of 8 people in each of the group, and at the end of several weeks, I noticed who improved the most. It wasn't the people on the call, it was the organizer of the call that improved the most, and they became the best leaders. So if you want to create somebody into a leadership position, as soon as they have enough members on their team, say start with 2 people or 3 people or 4 people and start doing this call. Now remember what we have to do. Welcome everybody. We report first so nobody feels out of place. Everybody reports. What do they report? Here's my first sentence. I've said it how many times this week? What are my results? And last of all, something good that happened. Here's what's interesting. Maybe you start off with a group with 8 and you end up with 4 that do it regularly. But when somebody wants to take the business serious, they get on the call, they see the other 4 are doing it, and they say, well, it's possible. That seems reasonable. I guess I could do that too. And they fall into line. The next week they're already reporting, and these are action people. So instead of waiting till the end of the month to push your volume or waiting for a special promotion from the company, we could have consistent volume, consistent new people every week, consistent new customers every week by doing these calls. This leadership action call is really easy now with Zoom because we can see the faces. We don't have to do it only by audio. It only takes 20 minutes once a week, and the people that are active just can't wait to report. And as they report, they're building their team, and soon they can run their own call. Now, it will take a couple weeks before it catches on. So the first week, a lot of people don't report very good. The second week, not so good. And by the third or fourth week, it starts to catch on. And by 5 or 6 weeks, you're going to say, wow, this is totally different than week 1. So don't be discouraged when you start. But you want to do this consistently, and people will fall into step. You say, okay, so they're going to get their personal development from the book. They're going to read a chapter at a time. If you want to read a Big Al book, it's going to have really short chapters. If you want to read another personal development book like How to Win Friends or Influence People or Think and Grow Rich, they're going to have longer chapters. But pick something so every week they are improving. Because we're not going to get a bigger check until we improve. And how do we improve? Well, we do that by learning stuff we don't know now. The only thing between us and where we want to be is stuff we don't know right now. So by learning new stuff, we get closer to where we want to be. Because if we already knew it, we would be there. You say, well, the action calls would be a great way to build leaders. So who do I get on this action call? Who do I look for? How do I find better people? Well, there's only 2 qualifications that somebody needs for leadership. And that is, they have to have some skills, because you can't do it without skills, and you have to have some personal motivation. Now, I will tell you really quick that it's pretty easy to teach the skills. I put them all in the Big Al books. You know how to teach people skills. But teaching somebody to be motivated, I haven't succeeded in that ever. So if we're going out look for people, do we look for people with skills or look for people with motivation? Ha! Now it makes sense. We're going to look for imperfect people who have no skills but who are motivated and want to change. Because we can't teach motivation, but we can teach skills. You say, so they only need skills and motivation. They can't do it just on motivation. I'll give you an example. I got this email recently. The person says, I hate my job. I want to quit my job and do network marketing full time. I said, well, that's nice, but being able to quit your job is not a qualification on doing your job correctly. You can't become a network marketing leader just because you quit. You're going to have to figure out how to do it. So let's imagine that you want to be an airplane pilot. Can you become an airplane pilot just because you're motivated with no skills? No. You're going to say, I don't know how to fly this plane. Oh, this is going to be hard. Yeah, we're going to be in deep trouble. So what we want to look for is people that are motivated, and we can teach them the skills. So where are we going to find motivated people? Well, we talked about that earlier. We're going to find motivated people are people who want change in their life. So on a piece of paper right now, just start writing down the names of people you know that would like to have change in their life. And you say, well, a lot of people want to have change. And you say, maybe not. Because when you ask them to change, they say, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to this meeting. I don't want to review this. I don't have time for this. They start coming up with the excuses. No. What we want to do is talk to people who want change in their life, the skills they can learn later. Let me tell you about some of my best leaders. These were badly skilled people. They were social outcasts, weren't very good about talking to people. But when I met them, they had a strong desire to change their life. They wanted more time with their family, wanted more money, wanted to achieve. Who do we know like that? Who do we know that would be just perfect for our business? Because they are motivated for change. And change in our business can mean a full-time income, time with the family, making more money than our boss. How cool is that? So ask yourself on your pencil and paper there, who do I know that's highly motivated that may be maybe socially challenged? Well, that would describe me when I started. You know, I'm a shy, nerdy, personality-free, charisma bypassed engineer. Should not be let out in public. And my public relations skills, pretty bad. My social skills, pretty bad. But I learned them. And I started with a book called Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So we can learn the skills, but we can't learn to be motivated. And if you think you have the power to motivate people, talk to a 3-year-old that's unmotivated, or talk to your children are not motivated, or talk to somebody at work that's not motivated, and you say, well, that's going to be really, really hard. But the skills are easy. Let me give you an example of skills. If you just say, do you have this problem? And then say, do you want to fix it? You're way ahead of the curve. You're better than 99% of the networkers right away, just learning that basic skill. So you say, do you have this problem? And then we're going to say, would it be okay if you fixed it? Because those are magic words. So let's see how that sounds. They say, well, I have trouble sleeping at night. Well, would it be okay if you fixed it? Or would it be okay if you did something about it? Well, yeah. Well, what can I do about it? And we can give them some suggestions. Or they say, man, it's just really hard trying to get by on one paycheck. Oh, would it be okay if you fix that? Well, yeah, it'd be okay if I fix it. What do I have to do? Well, then let's talk. So all we're going to do is check if they have a problem, ask them if they want to fix it, take the volunteers, and you say, wow, that's the easiest thing I've ever heard. What an easy business to do. So if you're watching this right now, ask yourself, could I learn a couple sentences? Could I learn to say, do you have a problem? In a different sort of way. And do you want to fix it? Take the people that raise their hand and say yes, and then say, well, then we should talk. And when we talk, well, that's the easy part. We can show them what we have, the solution, and they can decide if it's going to serve them or not. So where are you going to find the best leaders? You're going to find that with people who have a burning desire to change their life. And remember, somebody has a full-time job and a part-time job, and they have a burning desire to change their life. Or if somebody says, I never see my children, I work all day, and I give them to a babysitter, and then at night I get home late, I barely can feed them and put them to bed. This is not what I thought about when I got married. Desire is everything. So if you want to check for desire, you can just ask somebody, do you want to earn some extra money? And they'll tell you if they are motivated and have desire or not. They're going to say yes or no. And they can say no 100 different ways. They could say, well, it's not for me, it depends, I'm not a salesman, I don't know anybody. That's just a no. It's not their time. But for a lot of people, they're going to say, thank you for asking, let's talk. And all you and I have to do to start building leaders is to find people, give them the test, and then show them how to take action. So where do we find people? We look for motivated people. We give them a test by saying, hey, let's read this book and we'll talk about it in 3 days. Or listen to this audio, we'll talk about it in 3 days. And take an action. We can do this action call because everybody in that action call is saying, hey, I'm doing this every week, and over time it's going to accumulate. So here's your chance to build leaders. Leaders is the fastest way to grow your business. So look for motivated people, teach them the skills because they're not going to learn network marketing skills in school, and reap the benefits. Good luck.